Hey, what's up, everybody? BDO44 coming at you with another video. All right, so I was thinking about doing a therapy session, but that's not what's on my mind at all. That's not where my head's at. I kind of want to do an Apes Rant because I've been hearing a lot of stuff about AMC, and people are thinking that this thing is about to come to an end. A lot of things are coming together to make it seem like they're catalysts for whatever the big event we're expecting to happen. You know, it looks like something like that could the framework for something like that could be in motion. So I don't have my heart in terms of like, oh my God, this is it. That's not the vibe I have. If anything, I'm ready to for this to take forever. So it's not about necessarily that being the case, but since that is the word and people are preparing for this, I'm hearing a lot about what people should and should not do in regards to holding their shares when the time comes, when it's time for the price to go to whatever number it could possibly reach. The understanding is mathematically the number could pop up on the screen and say whatever astronomical number, but the problem is, according to a few of the, well, particularly one YouTuber, uh, is that the environment itself won't be stable enough to pay out that amount. You'll have brokers and banks and all different types of things getting vaporized, as he says, and that'll make for an unstable environment, such to where you'll be owed $100,000 a share. You may not see a coin. You may not be able to sell. If you sell, your transaction may not go through. If it goes through, you might find yourself in a situation where you're held up in federal court because they don't want you to add money. So essentially, what he's saying is to mitigate all these risks, just sell it like a fraction of what it is that you're shooting for. He thinks that the most reasonable price range is somewhere in like the 10,000s, early 10,000s, and anything after that is like good luck getting paid. Is essentially what he's saying, and that makes sense. It really does when you consider the fact that they have so many shares unaccounted for, being duplicated infinitely, right, across many different companies. It's not just AMC and GME. We're talking about Naked. You're talking about Clove. You're talking about Bed Bath and Beyond. It's a million different companies that have been shorted by these same people in the same way, and it will have the same effect. It's just that AMC and GME have the cult following around them, and we understand that, right? So all of this is clear to me. I'm following. You know what I mean? I get it. I also hear the people who are saying, you know, they're more so emphatic upon the fact that the number could get to a certain amount, and if we all hold, we can get it there. And I believe that. I believe that to be fact as well, or possible as well. So I guess my thing is, and what I would say to the guy Lou, who I didn't mention his name, but Lou, who's has that understanding that the environment itself probably won't be stable enough to pay us out, even though the number could go wherever. What I say to Lou is, I did not get into this play to sell these shares for those numbers. I didn't put myself through what I just put myself through for those numbers. Now, will I be happy to have those numbers? Yeah, I'm very happy to have those numbers, but not for that play. That play is worth a lot more than that. And you got to understand, people, what we're doing is changing the world. We're not just making ourselves rich. We're not just making a couple bucks or even more than a couple bucks. What we're doing is forcing an entity that has been printing money on its own to stop and be defeated, and forcing those who are supposed to be policing that entity to do its job. That's what we're doing. And if that's only worth that amount to you, you better think about how much money they're going to make from cleaning up this situation. Who's going to make what over the next 20 years because of what the apes have done? And you want me to sell for a fraction of the amount based on what it is that we've accomplished? Not mattering as much as it would mean for me to get my little greedy money hands on a couple dollars when I know I'm owed more? But not only based on what it is that I own, but based on what it is that I've done. Do you understand what I'm saying? And you're telling me the reason why we should sell for fractions upon pennies is because we've been effective in accomplishing what we were intending to do. Because if it weren't an unstable environment, then what we just did failed. I'm not saying what he's saying is wrong. What I'm saying is, there's more to think about after what it is he's talking about. Yeah, the environment's unstable. Yeah, there's going to be people vaporized. But the money's going somewhere. And you know where it's going? To us. We'll have it. So no, it's not. This is not a situation where I believe we should be afraid of the environment or how long it takes for us to get our millions. Because the reality is, we will be owed that amount unless we agree that we won't be. And I'm sorry, a couple companies falling apart over time or even right away, rather, around me is not going to make it any less real that I am owed and that my name is credited whatever it is that those share accounts are worth. If you're about making a quick dollar and you're a short-term person who's scary and really worried about these type of things, then this wasn't a play for you in the first place. Do you see what I'm saying? If you were the type of person who were that afraid of something of this magnitude, then why the hell did you hold that long? Just get into a different play. You don't hold for a squeeze play to get to a point where the squeeze can go to a trillion, and you sell for $10,000 because you're afraid the environment's not going to pay you out. Does insurance give you insurance because they're afraid that it's not going to matter? No, they're going to offer you insurance and make you pay out over time. Over time. The whole system is based on us paying out over time. That's what failed to order flow and all of that stuff was about. It was about controlling the clock. So now I'm supposed to forget that the clock actually exists and just take whatever they can give me because they're falling apart? Hell no. Somebody's going to pay me that money. Somebody's going to make that money, and when they do, it's going to be credited to my last name. Even if I'm not in the flesh to receive it, they're going to give it to my kids, they're going to give it to my grandkids, they're going to give it to my family. So no. Sorry, you guys. I'm not that squirmish, because if I was, I would have never gotten this play. You think I'm afraid of not getting this money? Remember, I'm writing it down to zero if necessary. So I have intentions of riding it up to $1 million, $2 million, $3 million a share. Why? Because that's exactly what's on the table for me to take. And I know $10,000. And I'm not afraid about any of that. I'm not afraid of the world falling apart around me, none of that. Why? Because it's already broken. We weren't getting what we were supposed to be getting in the first place. This is why they were able to continue doing the bullcrap that they were doing, because we took our foot off the gas when it was time to keep it on them. We can't do that. We can't do that with this type of enemy, because if we give them any inkling of life, they will continue as business as usual. Remember, they're printing money. Either we vaporize them or they keep in business. There's no in between. You understand what I'm saying? We're trying to defeat a god. Literally. In human form. That's what the Citadel and all these different entities are, because they have control of the money source. That means everybody who's out there trying to make a dollar, whether it's legal or illegal, is being screwed by these same individuals, whether they know it or not. Because where the money comes from is there, and they're making sure they have infinite amounts of it while we break our necks trying to make sure we have whatever it is we can earn from whoever it is who could pay us, who's being screwed by those people too. Nah, you think I'm gonna be afraid because this broker is gonna break down and that broker is gonna break down and oh no, I don't get my money? Nah, buddy, I'm not driven by that. If I were driven by that, I wouldn't be in this play. So no, I know Lou is talking to people who are scared about stuff like that, who are selfish, too stupid and selfish to see the bigger picture. But I ain't one of those minds, and I'm not talking to those minds either. Now, granted, your finances are important. So if you're in something and the risk is too high for you, or you need to sell out at 10,000 for a reason or two, or if that's who you are, that's what you do. I'm not telling you what to do, but what I'm telling you is I'm not talking to you if that's who you are. Because I got in this play in January 27th. That's been almost a year from now. This is going to be a year in about a week and a half, 2 weeks. 3 weeks. And I went through some of the toughest stuff I've been through in my entire life in that process. So if I fail in this play, it's not going to be because I bitched out. Because I didn't bitch out throughout any of this process, throughout all of this crap, living off of damn near $100 a month just so I can keep this play going. You think for a second that I'm going to let fear trick me out of it? Fear of the environment not paying me out? I've been broke my whole life. I ain't scared of not being paid. What I'm afraid of is confirming my own failure like I've done in other situations in my life. Letting fear control my actions like I let other dudes, like I let other situations take place in my life. I'm not going to do this with this. I'm not going to do this with this. You shouldn't either. I think the smart way to go for myself is when the thing starts taking off, sell a couple shares to secure the money needed to take care of things in my life immediately. After that, I'm letting the thing run. I'm letting the rest of the shares run, bro. I'm going to secure what I need to secure for myself, and I'm letting the shares run. If they go to $1 million a piece, then that's what I got coming my way. And if it runs to zero, then I keep them forever because I'm an ape, and I'll add to my position. You see how that works? This ain't going away. This ain't going away. And if those brokers and those banks aren't vaporized, then we didn't do our jobs. Do not give them your shares for less than they're worth because they're falling apart. The system's in place to make sure we're paid, and it will pay us. It's functioned in such a way to where if they don't pay us, they'll have to hear from us in court for a very long time. And lawyers will be happy to take those cases because of how much money would be on the line. Practically all of the money. Like all of it. So make no mistake about it, ladies and gentlemen. His hypothesis, Lou's hypothesis, makes a lot of sense. The environment itself may not be stable enough to pay you. You may not live to see your money if you let it ride up to the moon. But guess what? We didn't get in this to let it ride halfway there. I'm letting it go to the moon and let them worry about how I'm going to be paid. And if I don't be paid, then it's the same thing as it going to zero. Because as far as I'm concerned, I didn't get in this to sell it for $4,000 a share. And if I were afraid, I wouldn't have gotten the play in the first place. So that's what I have to say about that, man. Do what's best for you. Secure your situation. You know? He's right. There are other plays. There are definitely other plays. Especially given the fact that we got the crypto stuff going on. There's a lot of other stuff going on. Two things can exist at the same time. I think that's the problem I have with the ape community. It's either you go with Lou or you go with everybody else. No, they both make sense. And I wish they would address each other's points of view. Lou needs to address what the other guys are saying, the young guys, instead of saying that nobody should listen to him. Because to me, that seems that's a red flag. Honestly. Because you're telling me not to listen to nobody but you, and then you're telling me to only hold to a point. And then you're not giving me no receipts. Trust you? Cool. A lot of what you're saying adds up. But my thing has always been with Lou, and I'm going to say this on camera and I'm going to mean it. There's only two things that I think could drive a guy like Lou. What he says it is, which is he's a guy from the street who loves seeing people make money, who wants to take care of his family because he appreciates his community. Or he's somebody who's set to lose money if this thing goes too far. AKA one of them. And if I were one of them, I would have a Lou on my side talking to you, telling you to hold only to a point. Because at the end of the day, I can lose money, but I don't want to lose all of it. And it makes sense. Everything he's saying makes sense. It adds up. Don't get it twisted. It's not like they left too many holes in his story if they put him there. If they put him there, it's not like they gave you too much to question. What I'm telling you is, if I were a hedgie, I would have a charismatic guy that you can relate to, telling you all the stuff you want to hear, but being practical with you about not taking all of my money. That's what I would do. And that's why I question stuff like that. It doesn't mean the guy's not who he says he is. It doesn't mean that he doesn't have inside information. If anything, the guy I would have in place would definitely have inside information because he'd probably be one of my guys. He would be one. He would be somebody who's in there with me, who knows what needs to be said, who knows what doesn't need to be said, who knows what information to give whom, and who can feed you what I want you to know. And most definitely, continue to repeatedly tell you to sell your shares at lesser than what it is it can go to, and have a perfect, absolutely fail-safe reasoning behind that. Because the environment's going to fall apart. Anybody in their right mind, everything's falling apart, so of course they're not going to be able to pay you out. And the last line of defense for his point of view, what, you're going to rely on insurance? That's his last line of defense. Because at the end of the day, all you're going to say is, well, insurance will have to take care of it. And he can create doubt for that. Plenty of doubt for that. Which makes sense. So I'm not saying what he's saying ain't make sense. All I'm saying is, if I were one of them, he would be there representing me. Talking to you, convincing you to hold to a point, like he's actually doing in real life. I'm a skeptic. I'm a skeptic who listens. I'm a skeptic who doesn't know a damn thing about nothing. And I'm willing to bet there's going to be some losers in this play. I'm hopeful to not be one of them. But what I'm not going to do is let fear trick me out of my position. I won't be convinced that selling this thing for less than what it's worth is a good idea based on fear or uncertainty or instability, because the entire thing's unstable. When I put my money in the stock market, I put my money into a rigged system. So maybe my logic's flawed. Maybe it's like, yo, you gotta take your money and run. Hey, if that's the way you think, you're gonna make a lot of money, because you're gonna make money doing that. What he's saying is gonna make you money. What I'm saying is, you're gonna leave a lot of money on the table. You're gonna leave a lot of money on the table. Because at the end of the day, if that number says it's $100 million a share, then guess what's credited to your name? $100 million a share. And mind you this, inflation, we talk about inflation. Bread was what, 30 cents a pop back in 1920? Something like that? So all of the notion about what can't be funded and how much money we have on earth and all of this different stuff, remember, things change. Your apartment might have been worth $50 rent back in 1910 or 1920. You understand what I'm saying? Things change. NBA players are making $300, $200 million a contract now. Back in Magic Johnson's days, that was never going to happen. You see what I'm saying? Things are changing. There's more money going to be in rotation going forward, especially with the crypto boom that's coming. They're going to be trillionaires walking the earth at some point. Do not let these people trick you out of your position for fear of not getting it today. Because your money is worth what it's worth, and you need every coin. My name is BDF44. Thank y'all for watching. I'm out.